Hi, I'm Terry with Simmons Homes. I'm here to show you a few helpful tips on your doors. Sometimes you'll get a door squeak. Sometimes that door squeak might be in your hinge, and sometimes it might be in the latch. Well, we're going to start with the hinge first and show you how to lubricate your hinge. There's a product I like to use for this. It's called Door Ease. It's a lube stick, and I purchased this from Napa Auto Parts. Is the last place I bought it from. This stick is about $2. And what I like about this stick, it's like a wax almost. So when it goes onto your hinge pin, it doesn't draw moisture and it doesn't draw dirt. And and being that it's a stick, it'll stay on there longer than if you spray aerosol in there. So let me knock this pin out and I'll show you how to lubricate your pin. What I'm going to use to knock this pin out is I'm going to use a hammer and a nail set. And what I'll do is I'll start the nail set up underneath the bottom of the pin, and I'll drive the pin up as far as I can with my nail set. Then I'll take the nail set and get on the head of the pin and drive the pin the rest of the way out. Once I've got the pin out, I'm going to wipe any kind of debris that might be on the pin off. And if you'll notice on my fingers, there's a little bit of black stuff on here. And what that black stuff is actually metal shavings where the pin's been riding metal to metal. If you look on the pin, you'll actually see where it's been discolored from where it's been dry and rubbing on the metal. And that black stuff is like metal shavings. It almost looks like graphite. Now what I'll do is I'll rub this on here like you would a crayon, up and down on all sides of this pin, up and down the full length of the pin. And I'm lubricating this pin that way. Like I say, we're showing you on one pin, but we would do this with all 3 pins on your door. Once we've got it lubed up real well, we'll put the product back in the bag. Now we're going to put the pin back in place. And the pin will go in relatively easy because now it's been lubed up. See how far I was able to push that in by hand? Now I'm going to take with my hammer and tap it in the rest of the way. Once I've got it tapped in, I'm going to wipe around here and make sure I don't have any other grease sticking out. And that's how you would lubricate your hinge pin. Now I'm going to show you how you can lubricate your latch plunger. This is what I'm calling a latch plunger right here. On occasions, your door may develop a squeak when you turn your handle, and where that's going to be is going to be inside of here. The product I use for that is called silicone spray, and I'll use this spray, and I keep a rag with me because when you spray it, you're going to get it some places you don't really want to get it. So what I'll do is I'll remove the lid, I'll pull this nozzle, push the latch and get it back in here to where I can spray in here, and then I'll wipe it immediately. Now once I've done that, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do what I call exercise this plunger. I'm moving it back and forth. While I'm moving this back and forth, I'm working the lubrication into all the moving parts. And that's how you would lubricate this. This should eliminate any kind of a squeaky noise that you would have. This is something that you may have to do periodically. While we're discussing doors, let's talk a little bit about the door stops that are used in your home. We at Simmons use 2 different styles of door stops. The first door stop that I'm going to show you is called a baseboard stop. This baseboard stop is springy, so if it gets hit, it doesn't break or anything like that. And how it's installed is the base comes loose, and there's a screw in the base. This screws actually into the baseboard. And then the spring part, actually there's a hole in the base piece that this screws onto. It's not broken. Let me show you here on this one down here. Now we'll remove this and I'll show you how it screws on and off. The base is already attached to the baseboard. There's a little small hole here in the base of this door stop. The edge of the spring will start in the hole and it just screws on there. Now if it gets hit, it doesn't put any pressure on the screw so it doesn't come apart. And now you know how your base door stop works. The other type of door stop that we use in our houses is called a hinge stop. We'll have to use these hinge stops on certain doors to where the door won't come back and be able to hit like a baseboard, or it's at the wrong angle to where it'll slide over it. How this door stop actually functions is it stops by hitting on the hinge itself. I'm going to swing this door open to show you how that works. What will happen is this stop will come back and hit onto the door jamb. The hinge will come back and hit onto the hinge stop itself, and that will cause the door to stop moving. These are adjustable. You can adjust this by running this in or out. The way I've got it now lets the door open as far as it'll open. Now if we don't want the door to open as far, I'm going to run it in. What that will do is it'll let this hit the door jamb first, sooner. Therefore the door won't open as far before it gets on the door stop. Now I'm going to run this in quite a ways. I'm not going to have it adjusted accordingly. I'm just showing you how this will operate. Always make sure your pin's down. Once it hits on the door jamb and then it'll hit on the hinge, it'll stop that door from opening any further. One of the difficulties we run into with this type of door stop is over a period of time, it'll let that pin ride up. And if your pin rides up, it'll let the door stop not operate. It'll come above the hinge. It'll come back and hit on your door. It could knock a hole in your door or it could scuff your door. On these hinge stops, you need to always watch out for these pins riding up and keep them down. You'll find that most of the time the problem will lie with your pantry door in your kitchen. But like I say, you want to keep those pins knocked down to keep it from damaging your door. If you ever get a nick or ding on one of these doors from that, you want to take a little artist brush and touch up the nick or ding with just an artist brush. Don't put a paintbrush on these doors. They're spray painted, they're nice, shiny, and smooth. If you put a paintbrush on one of these doors, you'll always see the paintbrush marks. So that way you'll keep your door looking the way it did when you moved in.